some new sanctions might occur, they'll probably be short and narrow and targeted things aimed at the regime elite. Your reporter mentioned, for example, luxury goods. I would also think of things like banking, and military items, right, and sort of other personal things that regime leaders and elites would like, but larger sanctions against the society as a whole, those have been in place for a while. North Korea has been embargoed for a long time, so I don't think that'll happen.
Now, China has already taken a hardline stance against the North for this test. They are Pyongyang's biggest ally and a source, to some extent, of economic support. So can North Korea afford even more economic isolation?
Well, North Korea has actually proven to be far more capable of surviving economic isolation than anybody had really anticipated. I mean, North Korea started getting sanctioned seriously after the end of the Cold War, when they first started moving towards the nuclear program in the 1990s. And here we are 20 years later, and they're still managing to hang on. North Korea is really not sort of a good test case any longer for sanctions, because it's really not clear how much more they can do. I mean, we can always do more, I suppose, but another problem with sanctions is they actually support regime ideology. The regime ideology depends on external opposition, sort of the fortress mentality, right? And so at this point, it's already sort of isolated enough. I'm not sure if it helps that much.
And what were your impressions of North Korea when you last visited fairly recently? Because even though it doesn't have an economy of sorts that's vibrant like the South, for instance, there is a very big black market economy.
Yeah, that's true. The big economic story, I think, in North Korea is not what happens at the top, sort of the socialist economy that's failed. It's really what's going on at the bottom. You have a lot of informal black marketization, sort of, for lack of a better word. There's a lot of informal goods that come across the border from China. There's money that's actually transferred into North Korea using cell phones and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know about this. It really sprung up after the famines 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, and that's really sort of crept out throughout the entire country and created a huge corruption problem. And that's really where the economic movement is, at the bottom.
All right, we'll leave it there. Robert Kelly there in Busan. Thank you. In other business news, Japan's yen has jumped against major currencies after an official from the G7 group of rich nations clarified